Meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave, the Herald, and on the Township website, and posted on the bulletin board at Township Hall.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. And in particular, we remember tonight our Triana, a good friend and a devoted defender of Lower Township. So, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Neville?
Here.
Councilmember Simonson?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Here.
Mayor Beck?
Here. Okay. Consent agenda, we move down to that. Do I have any council questions or comments on the consent agenda? Okay, open it up for public comments on the consent agenda. Close the public portion.
Approval of minutes, November 17th, 2014. Resolutions number 2014-313 through resolution 2014-322.
Do I have a motion to approve and a second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2014-323. This is the appointment of an engineering designing associates as a professional service contract without public bidding. This is for the Coastal Resiliency Grant, not to exceed $250,000.
This comes out of the Hurricane Sandy, going back a couple of years ago. And I guess it was at the beginning of last year, in 2013, we had gone up to Trenton with hat in hand to try and get some kind of shore protection and some help with some of the flooding here. And you know, a lot of the optimism at the beginning in 2013 slowly evaporated through the year, and we had numerous residents that were concerned about beach erosion, and we also have the Coxhole Creek and the Fishing Creek area that has generated concerns about flooding throughout that area. And you know, we beat the drum pretty hard. And about a year ago, it was December of last year, and I want to tip the hat to Cindy Randazzo from DEP, who called me up, and I turned the information over to the township, and it had to do with this resiliency grant. Now, this grant, it won't move a grain of sand. It is for engineering, and it's $250,000, and our match will be generated by Bill Galestock, his efforts, and that of Colleen Crippen. And they're two of the people inside Town Hall that did most of the work that generated this grant. But DEP partnered with us, and this grant will pay for an engineering study that will have an impact in the long run. It's going to take a long time to do this. There's going to be a lot of papers back and forth, but it won't move a grain of sand. It basically is for the engineering alone, and you're looking at probably a year and a half to 2 years before we really get to the point where you have a plan, and at that point, we come back before the public with the plan. But it has to do, and in particular, it has to do not only with the ecosystem and the environment and the shore protection for the birds, the red knots, the horseshoe crabs, etc., but it also has to do with the flooding that a lot of our residents have suffered, and specifically through the mouths of both the Fishing Creek and the Coxhole Creek and along the bayfront. So I know that it's been a concern up in Ward 1, it's been a concern in Ward 2, and Jimmy's worked on this, and we're really excited to see that we're getting this, and hopefully we come with and the key is, like we've said from the beginning, we understand it's going to cost money to fix a lot of the problems that were inherited through procedures long before anybody that's sitting up here, and through building and through a lot of different things that occurred 15, 20, 30 years ago. And now it's time to try and fix these things. And we know it's going to cost money to do that. The thing is that this kind of a plan here that spends a significant amount of money on the engineering end of it is going to assure that when we do begin to spend money, we spend it and it will correct the problem. Instead of doing it piecemeal, and this will be something that, you can go on to the agenda and you can look at it online exactly what it is, but there's about 6 different phases of engineering work that will be involved with this, and I'm sure it's available for the newspapers afterwards. So if that council has any other comments, if not, we'll open it up for.
Real quick, it's this is highly important, as you mentioned, Fishing Creek. I had the gentleman from that actually did the plans for Coxhall Creek, was up to League of Municipalities with the One Soil Cape Atlantic Soil Conservatory, and he was asking how that worked, and when I explained it was working at this time, he believes that was the same procedure could be done for Fishing Creek, and that will help the north end of the villas. He said, make sure we don't do what happened at Green Creek, but this is going to be an alliance with other agencies. He was actually happy to hear how good Coxhall Creek was working right now, and we needed to do this last year, but sometimes things take time in government.
Right. It's not a cheetah; it's more like a tortoise. But you're looking at it to do this thoroughly. We're looking at December of 2016. So you can see that it's going to take some time, but at the end of that, you will have a blueprint that will enable us to solve some of the problems that we've faced. Is there any comments from the audience on this? We'll open it up to public comments. Yes.
No. I'll turn it on.
I don't think so. Mine's on. I don't think you can hear me. I can't believe it.
Okay, are we on now? Okay. Janet Pittsville's actually not a comment, but a question. How does this resiliency grant differ from the 1999 Army Corps of Engineers beach replenishment, which I believe Middle Township has already had once and is now going to get it again? That was going to cost us money. That was ecosystem for the birds. They did plenty of engineering. As a matter of fact, that's the only thing the Army Corps of Engineers spent money on, was the engineering to find the donor sites off of North Cape May and lay it out, and then nothing ever happened. So how's this resiliency grant different than what Middle Townships had done with beach restoration and the Army Corps plan from 1999?
Well, the township rejected the Army Corps plan back in the 90s. So, I mean, that was one of the problems that we faced since day one with that, is that the township did not support it. So,
I think
that sat on the shelf for all those years. It was not funded, and then when the hurricane hit, then they took another look at that thing.
Right,
It all
but
got
that
different.
program was supposed to be from Lower Township all the way up through Reed's Beach, Pierce's
Right.
Point, and they've been done.
Well,
but we've not been.
There's a one of the delicious parts of this thing is that it's a two-prong approach. One of it is for flooding control. We get that. But it's also for the ecosystem, and especially for the horseshoe crabs, the red knots, and all these other odds and ends that the government in some ways has a paramount interest in protecting. So while they're protecting them, we're going to protect our shorelines. So I think that that's part of it. Plus, I think that there's reason to believe that once this engineering study's done, I think what is it, Department of Interior, Bill?
Department of Interior.
Yeah. If you want to fire up, Bill.
The
Army Corps of Engineers study was ecological. And in this round, only protection projects could be funded. Originally, when the mayor and someone else, like Norris, went to Trenton, they were told about that we were going to get a beach fill project. But then they showed us later on the map, this was classified as an ecological only project, and only shore protection projects could be funded under the current round of Sandy money. So that's why we didn't get this now.
Okay, so this resiliency grant is for
This is something different. No, this resiliency grant, we're under the project planning and design category. And what we're looking for, it's from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. So it has an ecological tone to it. What we're looking at is a beach fill and protection to projects for Coxhole Creek watershed and the Fishing Creek watershed. The dune there is not recognized by FEMA as a protection dune. It's not the proper elevation and it's not designed the proper way, so we want to look at that. And then we want to look at the drainage in Coxhole Creek to see if we can get more water out or if it's necessary to resize the pipes there and the tide gates and the same
Right.
thing down. So that's what we're working on in this one. But this is different money.
So this is for the cricks to
Well,
get
this
the
is
water flow.
5 miles from
Yeah,
the
the
canal
coastline,
to Fishing Creek,
right,
beachfront,
Oh,
the
the beachfront
dunes,
too.
yeah,
Okay,
Coxhole Creek watershed and Fishing Creek watershed.
thank you, thank you.
okay,
And the ultimate goal is to have the permits in hand when we're done.
all right. Okay, is there any other questions on this?
How did we derive at the, I know it's a no bid. I always have a problem when and I realize,
Well, it's a professional contract.
no, I know that, I understand that, but how do we derive
Well,
it?
one of
you
the,
know?
one of the reasons, and I think Mike and I are aware of this, and we supported this in the resolution back in October when we sent it through to the state. But what happened was that and we do this, we've done it with the Fishing Creek School, a number of different, you go to an engineering firm and say, well, would you do this application? And for free, basically, is what it boils down to. And we shopped it around, and this engineering firm did do it for free, with the proviso that once it came through, they would be and you had to have that on the paper. I believe, Julie, wasn't it, that we had to list them on there, which we did when we voted for this back in October. The one firm that we called said no, they would not do it for free. This firm did. So we saved the township money, and their fees, will be paid out of this grant. So the township wins on it all the way around. It's the same thing that we've done like with the Fishing Creek School and I guess a couple other odds and ends. Okay. Is there any other questions? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2014-324. This is for payment of a voucher in the amount of $20,350 for Oliver, Showski, and Kiss.
Okay. Council comments?
I believe this is the last payment for the construction phase of a project that's on hold and hasn't started construction.
Okay. Any public comments on this? Close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
No.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
no,
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Okay, we move down to, there's no administrative points. Council comments.
Real quick, I was asked to bring to council tonight and ask for a work session at the next council meeting. Relay for Life is coming to Lower Township, May 30th through the 31st, 2015. The Relay for Life is the American Cancer Society's signature fundraising event. It is an overnight event in which teams participate. Anybody can participate. We remember those that have lost the fight against cancer and those that have survived. This is a community event, and everyone is encouraged to participate. Also, if you would like to help or are interested in Relay for Life, next Monday, December 8th, there will be an open house from 6 to 8 at the Back Bay Bistro. And I'd like to say a public goodbye to Art Treon. The township came together, everybody came, say goodbye to him Saturday, and Artie will be missed in more ways than one.
Yes, Ward 2 did lose a pillar of the society, of the county and the township with Art Treon, and I hope the rest of the Thanksgiving weekend was good for everyone, and enjoy the Christmas season, and think about what it's about. Thank you.
Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. I would like to mention that we did win a small battle in the in our battle with the Parkway interchange at exit 0. We had a couple meetings, and obviously we had one here for the public as well, and we disagreed with the state, with the DOT and the Turnpike Authority as to the second reverse jug handle that they wanted to put in at the bottom of the bridge to turn onto Ocean Drive. At the last meeting with them, we asked them to go back to the drawing board, and they returned. They gave us some information last week through Mr. Vole that they have decided to revise their plans. The original plan for exit 0 will remain the same, which will provide a safer way to exit off the Parkway and also to converge onto the Parkway. But they have taken out the second piece of it that would have affected the people that live there. It would have, affected the values of their homes, and we felt there was no need for it. So that was good news that we received last week. Also had a meeting, the mayor and I and Mr. Vole with our representatives from police, fire, and safety, still working on a solution for the residents of Diamond Beach to get their fire insurance rating down, and that's something that we continue to plug away at, and that we are going to succeed in the near future, I'm sure of. So with that, good news. The bad news is we lost the Anchor Bowl to Middle Township, which this was a rebuilding year for Lower Cape May Regional. Also, but with that, we had some milestones that were met, and that is Gabriella McKeon is the 2013 Atlantic City Press Athlete of the Year, or Player of the Year for girls soccer, which is a huge, anyone that follows the press, it covers a large area of South Jersey, pretty much all of South Jersey, so that's quite an accomplishment. And our girls soccer team was the Atlantic City Press Team of the Year. So a big congratulations to them and Coach Brett Matthews as well. Friday night I attended the Lower Cape Regional Hall of Fame dinner, in which Bill Damiana, Matt Dickin, Matt Caesar, whom some of you may know is now playing for the Chicago Cubs, also Victoria Wermuth, and the boys soccer team from 1989 and 90, they were South Jersey champions. They were all inducted into our local Hall of Fame, so congratulations to them. Again, I just want to echo, Art Treon was definitely a man of integrity. He served our community, served all of us well for many, many, many years, and he will be missed. And just want to remind everybody to get out and vote next Tuesday. That's it for me.
Just briefly, I look out over the audience. You all are regular attendance folks. It's apparently, if you come to council meetings, people tend to get hooked and they want to come back time and time again. There's something like it, I don't know what it is, but when you come, you tend to come back. And I want to thank you for your attendance. I want to thank you for the taxes that you give to this township. I really think that's important. We can't forget how hard all of us work for our money, and we turn around and give a good portion to help the schools, the fire departments, the libraries, the county, and your municipality and your police force. And I appreciate the fact that you come and make sure that we're spending your money in the best possible way. And I want to also invite people to come and join us, because what people need to understand is what you know already, is that if you come here, you have a real shot at being heard. It's our job to listen. And this entire council's job is to listen. The manager listens, and you're on television. You get a chance to ask good questions, get answers, and when you see something that shouldn't ought to be, you get a chance to say something about it. That's very rare. A lot of other levels of government, you can't do that unless you go with a pretty large crowd. I was with about 30 students today at Atlantic Cape Community College. They don't pay taxes yet, so none of them had been to a council meeting. I was asked to talk about government, and I asked how many of them had ever seen a council meeting. But I tried to tell them, and this is what I want folks to know, you have a real shot at making a difference in your community by coming to a council meeting, figuring out what's going on, asking good questions, and coming with your concerns. Time and time again, people that have come up here, just one person with a burning issue in their heart, they've been addressed. It immediately gets our attention, the manager moves on it, and that's the way local government should be. And that's the way local government is. So I want to invite more people to get involved, because we've got a few empty chairs, and it's kind of like something's good going on here, but we just need more folks to be involved in the process. So with that, I yield my time for the announcements, the long list of announcements that you have.
Yeah, we have a few. But first, Art Treon. I guess my introduction with him was the blizzard that came when I first came back as mayor. I guess the first year or whatever, we got hit with that back-to-back blizzards. And I always thought it was true testament to a lot of the work that all of our emergency workers, police, whether it's the fire companies, but Art was in charge, and we didn't have anybody, we didn't lose anybody. As incredible as that was, and all of us remember, we had those back-to-back blizzards that struck about 4 days apart and just paralyzed this whole town. But at the end of it, despite the fact that we sat through no electric, some of us for a long period, we didn't lose a soul. And it was a quick introduction to emergency management, and that was something that I was always grateful to him for. But most importantly, I always thought he was one of the nicest guys that I ran into. I mean, that guy was always smiling, and a couple times that I went to the reorganization night at the Town Bank Fire Company, he was one guy that came up and made sure that he went out of his way to talk and to, and you don't know everybody when you go to a lot of these functions, and you walk in and you try and get to know as many people as you can. But he would always be there for my wife and myself and sit down and talk with us and make me feel at home. So I will miss him, and I was grateful for all the things that he did for this township. Okay, so the announcements, we go to that. Christmas tree lighting tomorrow, Tuesday, December 2nd, 7 p.m. at the Rec Center. And this is important. If you're a veteran especially, you should attend. The Rotary will be honoring all veterans tomorrow night. So that's tomorrow at the Rec Center, 7 o'clock. Then you have the Chamber of Commerce Hospitality Day, which is this Friday from 2 to 7 p.m. That's throughout the township. Please contact the Chamber for a list of participating merchants. That's this Friday from 2 to 7 o'clock. And they're headquartered here at the Rec Center, right? I guess that's where they would come, right, Kath? Okay.
We actually have people in this room as well.
Okay. Then you have, I'm going to save the election to talk about just for a minute, but the FEMA flood maps open house is Friday, December 12th from 4 to 8 p.m. That's the FEMA flood maps open house Friday, December 12th, 4 to 8 at the Cape May Convention Center. Representatives from the state, the county, and FEMA will be available to answer flood risk and insurance questions. Again, Friday, December 12th, 4 to 8. Then you have the Lower Township Rotary Christmas Parade, which is Saturday, December 13th at 7 o'clock. Starts at Bay Shore and Breakwater and goes south on Bay Shore to Rose Hill. That's the parade. That's Saturday, December 13th.
Now, you still have the Rotary Christmas House Decorating Contest, you must be on the list by noon on Friday, December 12th. Judging takes place on December 13th and 14th. Okay, so if you want to put your house in there, you have to be on the list by Friday, December 12th. The Ferry Merry Christmas, which is a good event, is Sunday, December 21st at the ferry terminal, noon to 3 o'clock. Ferry Merry Christmas, Sunday, December 21st at the ferry. New Year's Eve event is Wednesday, December 31st, 6 to 9 at the rec center. It's always a fantastic time there, too. That's the New Year's Eve event, Wednesday, December 31st, 6 to 9. I think that's all. Anything else I think of? Anybody? Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. That's the most important one. I skipped it to save it to the end, and it's like, okay, next Tuesday. This is like the last chance we get to speak out, and all of council, speaks as one voice on this. People have to come out next Tuesday and vote. This is December 9th from 2 to 9. You have to get out and vote no for two excellent reasons. One is your tax bill. You will see a dramatic increase in your taxes if, for some reason, this vote does not turn out the right way. If we don't get the no vote, if for some reason, by some unforeseen set of circumstances, there was a yes vote this day, you would see a couple $100 increase. I forget exactly, what is it, $400? $400. And I've said before, and I'll say this again, it is in the best interest of the residents of West Cape May to join us in this vote in voting no, because as high as our taxes will go, if for some reason this comes out yes, theirs will go even higher. So they need to be aware of that and to respond accordingly. And the second good reason is that we want to preserve the quality of education that we currently have. Our schools, they do a fantastic job. If you take the millions of dollars of funding away that this would develop from this, it's going to have an impact. Despite what the council in Cape May says, it will have a negative impact on the schools in the Lower Cape region. I want to just spend a moment to thank the Taxpayers Association, in particular Janet Pitts and Ed Butler, who's not here. I think he's ill, because they've kind of walked point on a lot of this, and Geis's Market has been kind of a ground zero in a lot of ways with the Vote No campaign, and they deserve the credit. It's hard to get people to get out and get involved in this, and we're fighting apathy. That's the biggest fight we have. If you went to everybody in this town and said, do you want to see your taxes grow by $400, they're going to say absolutely not. But everybody's going to look at each other next Tuesday and say, well, it's his job to go out. I don't feel like, and you can't have that. Everybody's got to recognize that we all have a joint responsibility to get up and get out next Tuesday and to vote no. And we've done quite a bit that we can do. There'll be a few more odds and ends that we have. We're going to put some message signs up and stuff like that. But we need to rely on our residents to stay informed and to vote. This is probably the most important vote that this township will face. And hopefully when this is over and we get the correct answer, the Cape May will stop. We're just pouring money down a rat hole, and they have to stop. Their council has to come to the, and hopefully they got new people in there that will recognize that this is pure insanity, and we can't keep spending money like this. So with that, and I think we're all in agreement on that, on everything that was said there. Yes.
Just want to make a couple announcements real quick, because Janet did ask me tonight, Pine Tree, why the trash and recycling wasn't picked up today. It was because Thursday and Friday, Public Works was off because of the Thanksgiving holiday, and they're going to get caught up. It'll take a couple days to adjust, but the trash will be picked up. And the Walk for Life that Tom's involved with, I'm a cancer survivor, and I suggest that people that are cancer survivors to contact Tom, because they're going to want them to be involved with this walk. And lastly, you asked people to get involved, and one of our gentlemen that's a regular, I don't want to embarrass him, gave me a list of some ordinance violations in his neighborhood to try to clean up some violations of vehicles and trailers, et cetera. And that's great. I appreciate it. I've had people in the past contact me. If it's a police matter, we have them go out and take care of it right away if it's code enforcement. So you're right on the money, Mayor, and I appreciate this gentleman bringing it up to me tonight, and we'll start working on it tomorrow.
Okay. We'll open up to the call to the public. If anybody has a question or comment, come forward. Yes, this fine gentleman here.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'd like to make this comment. I'd like to ask the mayor and council to consider my request that we pass a resolution that asks for TV 40 to be continued as a station for the foreseeable future. You know, they're going to go out of business at the end of the year, apparently. You know, if they continue to broadcast our local news, it's important. Many people, besides me, watch TV 40. We miss seeing them over there when there's something important. They're here to let us know what's going on. Our local government and our residents need TV 40. Please pass a resolution tonight, maybe, that our local government, before we lose this local station, we don't need to lose it. We need someone besides me and other people to call and write letters. If the council passes it, it represents us. And I would hope that you might do this at the very next meeting before they're gone, we're out of business. And we
Yeah, I
have
know, I know the Mayor's Association, we passed a resolution and sent it forward, I guess last month or so.
Well, possibly council could do this.
We can
It's
do,
the more that could
Because-
help, yeah, because
yeah, we can
I know
do
they're
that.
losing their NBC affiliation, but that's,
But,
we need it down here.
yeah,
We
we're
definitely
on
do.
board with you. Everybody feels the same way, but I mean,
But
you know,
I mean,
it's
a
fine.
resolution might be helpful.
Okay.
I don't know, but, you know.
Your point's well
it
taken.
can't hurt, that's for
Right.
sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That gentleman in the back?
I'm Bill Murphy, Town Bank section of Lower Township. I was here last council meeting about 2 weeks ago, and the microphone was dominated by some people. One of these guys even called Mike Voll there a liar, you know, which is uncalled for.
I agree.
You know, I don't know Mike Voll. I met him just a few days ago. I didn't know Mike Voll. But anyway, some of the comments that I heard over the past year, probably a dozen or so, that if you want something done in this township, call Mike Voll, it'll get done. So that says a lot, really. The reason I'm here is to thank you guys, the mayor and the deputy mayor and Jimmy Neville, the Councilman Neville, for nominating me to the MUA. Also, Tom and Eric, you know, I know you had to do what you had to do, but the vote was 3-2, and I was appointed to the MUA. You know, and I'll try to do a good job while I'm over there. Politics. You know, I'm well aware of what's going on between the MUA and the council. Well aware of it. You know, politics is something that, you know, it's kind of difficult to deal with. You know, I am apolitical. I'll make one statement, that everybody in this room is either a Republican or an independent. I happen to be a Democrat. I'm the only Democrat in South Jersey, probably with the exception. Thank you. With the exception of Jeff Van Drew. How he wins all the time, I don't know, but he's doing something right. Anyway, I wish everybody Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And, you know, I'll get to you in just a second. But, you know, that was, and you're right, Bill, that was outrageous what that guy said last week, and we've dealt with him, or last meeting, and we've dealt with him before. I've worked with Mike now for 4 years, and I'll tell you, you know, I have the utmost respect for him. I'm the one council member that voted against him when he came on, if people remember that from 4 years ago. But we've worked together for the past 4 years, and I personally believe that every decision that Mike Voll has done has been for the interest of Lower Township in his heart. And I respect him, and I think that he has done an excellent job. I get also the scorecard, and I get that, you know, his days are numbered here inside Town Hall. But he goes with my respect, and I want him to understand that, and I want it said publicly. Because I watched, and I'm here every day, just about. There's very few days I'm not. And, you know, he did the right thing for the people. And I don't think that there's much more that can be said of a compliment than that. And he has, like I said, the thanks of all of us as far as that. So, now somebody had a hand up back here, Mr. Chestnut. Come and see down.
Good evening. I only have one question. I live over in Town Bank. They're
Right.
redoing the streets over there with the asphalt.
Right.
How come they're only doing 5-foot sections on the little streets? Come running down the whole street from one end to the other. It's only 5 foot wide.
Now,
That's
is that
part
where
of
they
the
ran the
MUA
water line?
restoration?
Is that where they ran the water line?
Yeah, I believe it's part of the MUA restoration.
7 foot.
Okay, what they're doing is
Yeah, it's
they're
7
only
foot, right.
putting 2 inches there. They're breaking up what asphalt's already left there, and the water's going to get underneath. And with this cold weather, it's only going to push it up. I now have a big puddle in front of my house when it rains, which I didn't have before.
We'll have somebody look at it.
Yeah, I spoke with Craig Loper today, who's the acting executive director, and because there's some concerns I have on another road where they paved and there's dips, and they have to go back and fix it. So we'll pass it on tomorrow. That's an MUA job.
My next question is, why is it only 2 inches? 2 inches will last maybe a year and a half, and they're going to have to come back.
I'm not sure if it's 2 inches or 3. I'm not sure what it is.
2.
Okay, but I'll bring it up to them tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir, we need your name.
Yeah.
I'm
Tom
sorry.
Chestnut.
Tom Chestnut.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I know his name. Is there anybody else that wishes to address council? Okay, close the public portion.
Resolution number 2014-325, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is for discussion on professional service contracts.
I don't believe there's a reason for that meeting tonight because we don't have any more information and nothing came through. We had talked about this last week, so.
Perfect. Monday Night Football. Yes.
Motion to table that resolution?
Okay.
Need a second.
Heck, I'll second that one.
Okay.
Councilmember
Gets me out of here.
Conrad.
Yes.
Councilmember Neville.
The table.
Say yes.
Yeah, just table the
Table.
motion. This is,
Councilmember Simonson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark.
yes,
Mayor Beck.
yes.
Okay. Now
I
we
get
just need a
what you were
motion
doing.
to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
I need a second.
Second.
A second.
Thank you.
Pick one. How about the